It's now time for further debate. I recognize the member for Oshawa.
I'm very pleased to be able to stand and offer some thoughts on Bill 90, but first I'd like to start with a quote from Peter Kormos, who was a Labour champion who spent his 23 years in this House fighting for workers and for the good jobs that they deserve. Quote, "Down where I come from in Welland, just like up in Sudbury or in Windsor, Hamilton or Toronto, you're either with working women and men or you're against them. And this bill is all about standing shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, hand in hand with working women and men." End quote. Well, I represent a union town as well, one where generations of workers have been able to thrive and build a community because of good union jobs with fair wages secured at the bargaining table. I'm proud to represent Oshawa, and I'm proud to be part of the team bringing this anti-scab legislation before this chamber once again. And as you've heard, this is the 16th time that the Ontario NDP has brought this legislation forward. Ontario used to have anti-scab legislation brought in by an NDP government. However, the Harris Conservatives got rid of that straight away, and ever since, workers and those who respect them have been fighting to reintroduce protections against the use of replacement workers. Recently in Oshawa, we had a case of striking Unifor 222 cleaners who were working for a contracted cleaning company at the university. Well, that company unnecessarily prolonged a strike by bringing in scab labour. When I spoke to the cleaners who were on the lines, they were quite distressed because the replacement workers were being dropped off in unmarked vans and were sprinting between residential buildings to get to the workplace. These replacement workers had to use Google Translate to communicate with the striking workers who were trying to explain to them that they were not properly trained, did not have appropriate protective equipment, and that it was not right that they were crossing a picket line. And those particular replacement workers were being sent into university Level 2 labs that have very expensive equipment, that require special handling, and substances that require training. However, their employer, the scab employer, sent them in anyway with garbage bags and cheap gloves. Well, that was not a good situation, and it never is. There is often an imbalance of power between employer and workers. The power of a strike is what makes it an effective tool. And Kormos said it best, quote, "The right to withdraw one's labour is a fundamental right in a democratic society. It's fundamental," end quote. Scab labour, on the other hand, prolongs strikes and labour disputes. Scab labour disrespects workers. This is a government that has never respected workers, ensured that they had protections, fair wages, paid sick days, or tools like anti-scab legislation to even the playing field. I am eager to pass this private member's bill, and I encourage this Conservative government to make it law and make things fair. And once again, in the always relevant words of Peter Kormos, quote, "New Democrats believe strongly and adamantly that a strong economy means a healthy workforce, and a healthy workforce means a unionized workforce. That a strong economy means workers making decent wages, and if workers are going to make decent wages, they've got to belong to trade unions so they can negotiate those wages. That a strong economy and a strong province mean that workers ought to be able to negotiate and control their workplaces so they can arrive home at night in the same physical health condition as they went to work in the morning. As a New Democrat, I'm proud to see this bill before this chamber. I'm proud of the working women and men across this province, across this country, who struggled over the course of generations and decades and often paid with their blood, lives and liberty to advance the rights and interests of working people in North America and the world." Peter Kormos continues with, "I am proud of you, and I know that what you did wasn't for yourselves, it was for your kids and your grandkids. Reenacting anti-scab legislation in the province of Ontario will be one of the greatest legacies." End quote. Peter Kormos has a pretty awesome legacy in this place and beyond in the province. And so here we stand with an opportunity, the 16th opportunity, to pass anti-scab legislation. And unfortunately, when the Minister of Labour had the chance this morning, when he was asked, he gave a hard no about this government's intent to pass this. I hope that they've had a change of heart, that they will support this legislation and join, that the members opposite will join us in building a legacy of fairness for workers in Ontario and pass anti-scab legislation today. Thank you.